What's up, guys? It is John from Side Hustle Experiment. In today's video, I am covering 6 common mistakes to avoid when you're growing your Amazon business. I've made all of these mistakes, and I feel like this could really help a lot of people. And a lot of the mistakes that were made could have been avoided, and I'm going to kind of cover how they could have been avoided. And kind of, I was starting all over again, how I would go about this. So if you're new to the channel, my name is John Muscarello, done over $1 million in sales on Amazon. I do online arbitrage, and I created this channel to document my journey and help you guys make money selling on Amazon so you could quit your full-time job or do whatever you want with the extra money. Let's get into it. So the 6 common mistakes I've made growing my business is, one, if I had to start all over again, I would definitely get a mentor one-on-one, or maybe do a coaching program or buy a course. I am a big believer in investing in yourself. I know a lot of people think this stuff is scammy and like all these people are just making money coaching and doing this or doing courses. And while that might be true, whatever, the knowledge is helpful. A lot of people that I know have courses or coaching or items I have bought, I do not think that of the course creator. But Amazon is tricky. I do coaching calls, and it is really hard to walk a beginner through kind of how to get started, how to grow, or even how to grow the business, right? When you're talking to someone who's at a certain level, it's obvious, like, oh yeah, just do this, more of this, and they understand. But when you don't understand what more of this is, it's definitely a lot harder. So having someone being able to walk you through that, and I also think on top of that, it's accountability. So when you're in a group or you're doing coaching or whatever, like someone's going to ask you, hey, did you spend money this week? Like, why or why not? Hey, what's going on in the business? Are your sales going up? Are they going down? Are you buying stuff at this sale? You're going to see other people in the community or a course or wherever you're doing winning, and you're going to want to win more. So I think it's surrounding yourself with, people who are going to hold you accountable. I think that's really the hardest part of the business. It's an easy business. Find cheap stuff that's selling for more on Amazon, but it's hard to execute consistently. Number 2, I would network a lot more. I was very fortunate to have somewhat of an Instagram presence. I was doing used books. That's how I started. I was doing bulk books. So I had a lot of connections in books, but not necessarily people who are doing OA. There's a good bit of people I knew who started with books, and I helped them get started, and then they moved to OA. So I was able to lean on them a little bit to help get started. But I had never really reached out to a lot of people on social media. I get a lot of DMs and inbound messages, but I felt almost, it seems weird, but I was like, I don't want to bother this person. I don't want to, impose upon them. But when I get DMs and questions and stuff like that, I'm always happy to answer them. If it's not like, hey, how do I get started? Like, if it's a really good question, I'm always happy to answer those and kind of help people out, or people who are just like, hey, like, I watched your content. You helped me do this. Like, now I'm stuck here. Like, always happy to help those types of people kind of keep going. But reaching out to people who are way, way ahead of me, I started doing that. And it's been super helpful to get those kind of questions answered. I think especially when you're asking a really detailed question. But hey, like, I just did 60K. Like, I'm trying to get it to 70 or to 80. Like, when you were trying to make that jump, like, how did you do it? Or like, what did you do differently? Stuff like that. Very specific questions. Easier to get answered. So yeah, networking is essential. Also, on the other end of that, sharing leads. I wish I shared more leads early on, or sales. I was of the mindset, if I share this lead, like, they're going to tank the price, or not that they would tank the price, but then like others are going to like find out about it, or if I do share this lead and the price does tank, then like they're going to think I'm an idiot. If I tell them about a sale, like, I'm not going to be able to buy as much. And really none of that is the case. Number one, if you send them the lead and it tanks, like, that's on them. Like, whenever you get a lead from someone, you have to do your own due diligence and, try to figure out whether it is a good buy or not. I've definitely bought some stuff that people like sent and it did not do well. But there's also been stuff that's done really well, especially this Q4. Don't be afraid to do that. In regards to sharing sales, like if I could tell, they're like the sales that I've shopped in Q4, the people I knew who are also shopping them, like there's just so much out there that even if you were the only one shopping that sale, like you could not buy everything. Like there's a cap to this. Like Amazon is so big on certain items, they move so much volume that even if no one else knew about it, you couldn't even spend enough money to deplete that. So just keep that in mind. And the more you share, the more people share with you. And I think that has been huge, having Instagram or YouTube and trying to help you guys grow your businesses. A lot of people, hey man, check out the sale. Hey, check out this lead. And it's helpful. So networking, definitely huge. Do a lot of it. It's uncomfortable up front, but literally if you send them a DM and they don't write back, like who cares? Like you don't even know them. They're like a stranger. So it's like, you don't lose anything really. 3, this is a big one. The biggest one is at the end, but this one is setting an unrealistic spend goal and trying to hit it. When I first started, I was like, I want to spend $1,000 a day. And I wasn't able to do that. And to be honest, it probably hurt me because I was disappointed. I was like, damn, you didn't hit the goal for the day. Oh, you didn't hit the goal for the day. Oh man, like you spent 200 or 300. It's like, well, it's not 1,000. You'd be better off setting smaller spend goals and crushing them. So if I was like, and it sounds ridiculous, but it's like, if I could spend $100 today on items that are making 20 to 30% ROI, like that would be amazing. So if you hit that, then you're like, cool, like this is awesome. Or if you end up spending 200, you're like, wow, like I went over the goal. So I think that's really important. And then you could bump that up to 300 or 500 and 1,000. And that's really how I was able to overcome it. There's definitely a video on the channel about talking about spend goals. But yeah, it wasn't until I lowered it down to I think 250. And then when I was consistently hitting that or going over that, I did 500. And the mental energy that kind of changed for me, being able to crush those spend goals really helped and propelled me. It also gave me a better attitude. When you can't find $1,000 consistently, it's like, oh man, does this really work? It's like, no, you're just not there yet. And knowing that there's stuff out there to buy is super important because you just have to have a positive attitude about this. And it's like, there's not that there's nothing out there. It's just you haven't figured out how to find it yet. So staying positive is definitely key, but having a realistic spend goal. I know you always want to stretch for goals, but when you're first getting started, I feel it's really important to really keep them small and crush them. And that's a great way to build momentum. You also don't want to go out and spend a ton of money at first. Don't know what you're doing. You're going to make mistakes. And that's just part of the game. Number 4, cheaping out on software. I probably did not have this problem, but because I've already bought, I was further along in the book business, so I didn't have this issue. But a lot of people starting out don't want to spend money on software. I get it, but it's going to build if you're serious about doing this, online arbitrage, you should have Keepa, Inventory Labs, and SellerAmp. There's free trials below for all that stuff. But yeah, these softwares make everything so much quicker. Online arbitrage is super frustrating, especially to get started. You have trouble finding stuff. But if you could have software or other things that make it go quicker or will help it be less of a pain, then you're more likely to stick with it and do it because it's going to be easier. Number 5, outsourcing tasks too quickly. This really hurt me. I got a VA way too soon. Everyone says, oh, get a VA. You shouldn't be sourcing, have your VA do it. And that is true to a certain extent if you know what you're doing, because you have to teach that VA. I think a lot of people think they come trained, or even if they have some experience, you're not going to have to be hands-on. When you get a VA, it's like a job. You have to train this person. You have to review all their leads. you have to, like, it does save you time, but not like till after like 3 or 4 months. So they're fully trained. And if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to find stuff, it's going to be really hard to train them well. So definitely I went through that learning curve. It was tough. And the second one was getting a prep center. I thought having a prep center was awesome, and it is. But being new, I didn't know what questions to ask them, if they were doing a good job or not. I got into a situation where one was just kind of like fell apart and was holding like $8,000 to $10,000 worth of inventory. And like that all could have been avoided if I was more experienced, because I would, one, either talk to someone further along the way, or two, I would know what questions to ask and have a certain expectation. Like, okay, I could prep this much product in this time. Like, how much is the prep center going to prep? And, you know, just having that, knowing how to guide them, or being like, hey, like, why is this getting returned? Or, hey, why didn't you polybag this? You have to know how to prep products in order to hold your prep center accountable. Number 6, the last one, is you need to focus on one thing. When I first started, I had an FBA book business, a merchant fulfilled book business, an eBay business. OA was number 4. It was a recipe for disaster. The book business would be up. I'd be great. I'm going to focus on OA. Then OA would start to go up. I was like, oh, the book business is going down. So I go work on that, and nothing got big. I ended up with like 2 like kind of okay businesses, but like it was impossible to grow either because I just wasn't focused. Once I got rid of the book business, everything changed. I literally went from struggling to do like 20K-ish months in sales. Once I got rid of books, that next month went to 40, then I went to like 54, then 52, then 72, and this month we'll do 100, at least 100K in sales. So definitely not possible if I had the other book business and all the distractions that go with that. And even eBay, I put everything on auction and just got rid of everything because I just needed to focus. OA definitely requires a lot more attention, detail. You're spending lots of money. There's lots to look at. So you really, really need to be focused. So if you are just getting started, don't jump around. Don't be like, oh, maybe I should do wholesale. Maybe I should do privately. Like, just get started with online arbitrage. Maybe pick a certain category like grocery or beauty or apparel or whatever you were going to do, and kind of focus on that until like it's time to like expand a little. So those are that I have made building this business, and I do think they're kind of common. 1, not getting help or mentorship. 2, not networking or reaching out to people on social media, setting unrealistic spend goals, cheaping out on software, outsourcing too quickly, whether it's getting a VA or prep. And then number 6, not focusing solely on the one business model you're doing. And yeah, that's what I got for you guys today. Let me know what you think, or any other common mistakes or mistakes you've made and what you've learned from them. And please like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.